Atomic batteries to power. Turbines to speed.
Roger. Ready to move out.
Bell and Company.
Yes, it is. Yeah, yes, that's me. I'm reverbing that. It's me, Mario J. Bell of Bell and Company. And Livy, who's having a good time from the last show we did.
Yeah.
You don't normally drink, do you, Livy?
I'm pretty lit up right now.
Yeah,
I don't
can
usually
tell.
drink.
I
I'm
can
a
tell.
lightweight.
She's
Libby
my
loves her
normally,
brew.
and that's Joe right there. Both of you guys are having a good time after the first hour we were doing. Yeah, we do 2 shows on Sundays, and the first one we're going to this radio play, which sounds awesome, and at a brewery in Woodridge, Illinois.
Yeah. On Lamont Road.
On Lamont Road.
And I'm drunk.
And I wasn't drinking. Can you believe that? So anyway, so we're all having a good time in here tonight. And so we're going to bring our guest in. He's going to introduce himself right now, and he's going to join the fun. How you doing?
I'm good. My name's Kyle Karras, and I work in video production.
You do. So you know about the mics and stuff.
Yeah, my decent, a fair amount of knowledge.
Yeah, I bet. But you like the little ones that go on the lapel, right? The lav mics, as we call them.
Yes, exactly.
So anyway, we're going to talk to you in a minute, but there's something that we do. This is kind of a special. We were doing it quite often, and then I wasn't here, so that doesn't help them. But we have our entertainment concierge, your entertainment concierge, and he likes to come on and give us, updates on what's going on, especially during the holidays. So this is a perfect time. You came right the week before Thanksgiving. If you're watching us live, it's the weekend before, the week before Thanksgiving. And we'll be here the week of Thanksgiving. That Sunday we'll be here. So people can listen if they're bored for the weekend and they're tired of their family. Listen to us. And you can watch too on YouTube and Facebook, and it's IntellectualRadio.com, and you can also go there and look there and watch us. So a lot of places to see us there, Kyle. So anyway, but let's go ahead and see what's going on, and mostly theater stuff. I think Rich has. Let's welcome him on. Hey, Rich.
What's up, Rich?
Hey, Mario. How's the world treating you?
Oh, well, we're doing okay. We thought we all had COVID last week, but we're doing much better.
Yeah, it's a crummy time out, but theater. There's over 150 theaters in Chicagoland area.
Oh, I know what I want to say before you get started. I couldn't believe this. I want you to confirm it because you'll know. Is it true that the Blue Man Group, after all these years, is leaving the Briar Street?
What?
I don't think so.
I mean, that's what's been reported in all of the headlines, but I don't believe it. WGN even reported it.
That's interesting.
Okay, so our entertainment concierge hasn't. You're still selling tickets for it, right?
Well, I don't sell anything, Mario. I take care of people.
Right. You just take care of people. But I'm saying, if somebody asks for Briar Street, as far as you know, we're still doing Blue Man Group around here.
Absolutely. I know that I sent somebody to that show just recently.
Yeah, I was really surprised when I heard that. I don't know. Maybe are they going to take use another city as their home base? Maybe because I know they're in.
They're already functioning in several cities.
Yeah, that's what I don't know. I don't know what happened. Maybe the Briar Street's closing, but that's been the headlines. But our entertainment concierge would know, and he hasn't heard yet. So that's interesting.
I have not heard that. I'll report on that next week.
Yeah, I was going to say next when we have Rich on again, probably next weekend.
I'll get an answer on that one because I just had a request from somebody that wanted to see Blue Man. In any event, let's talk about some of the shows that are here right now that you can go see. In over 150 different theaters in the Chicagoland area. Timeline Theater and is over at Court Theater. It's University of Chicago territory, and they just got a deal where they're going to be doing a great little show.
I don't know of that theater. I've never been down there.
Timeline Theater is what you said.
It's wonderful area. Let me get back to that. Chicago Shakespeare Theater is over at Navy Pier, and they've Chicago Shakespeare Theater is got a deal and direct from overseas, direct from London, is the Royal Shakespeare Company coming in and doing a play.
Oh.
That's pretty cool that they have that there. You'd never think you'd have theater right there, but they got a Ferris wheel. I guess they can have theater. They got a big IMAX and everything.
Yep, and then you got Broadway in Chicago that's bringing us Harry Potter. That's going to be here until February, like the first. Harry Potter is at the Niedermeyer Theater, and that's downtown Chicago. And that's Broadway in Chicago, and it's Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. Well, that's a great little show. Let's see. There's a world premiere. Steppenwolf got a world premiere cooking. It's Lucy and somebody else until December the 15th. But it's a world premiere. And there's a couple of others in Chicagoland area, but let's catch a couple of shows like the Genesee Theater in Waukegan. Brings us some wonderful, wonderful different things. They're doing Tchaikovsky's Nutcracker, by the way.
Oh, nice.
That's on 2 dates in December the 19th and the 20th. And it's the magic of the Nutcracker.
Got to have that for Christmas.
And they'll have over 100 different professional actors in that show. Over 100 actors on stage doing Tchaikovsky's Nutcracker.
Jeez. I know it's a big show.
Oh, yeah.
Quite a bit of choreography.
It's got not only the magic of the Nutcracker, but they also have another show in December. And that would be the Dear Evan.
Oh, that's Dear Evan Hansen, I think you're talking about.
That's Dear Evan Hansen is correct. And that's a comedy that we like to see.
Yeah, they made a movie out of it, but I didn't really like the movie that much. But the play's better.
Yeah, I heard mixed reviews.
It's a lot of fun, and it's a one-night performance, and it's just before the Nutcracker. I think it's December the 10th. And then another great show in the suburbs would be at Citadel Theater. You've got the Citadel Theater in Lake Forest that has been nominated for several awards, by the way. 4 of their shows last year were nominated for awards. They do great work over there.
We saw a couple plays there. One of them was like in the 20s or 30s. It was pretty cool.
You remember the name of it?
Yeah, that was at the Citadel.
Was that the Cottage?
Yeah.
At the Cottage. There we go. The Cottage.
Yeah,
It was called the Cottage.
that was a dynamite. The show that they've got there now is a dynamite show too.
Let's check it out.
To catch it if we can. Let's see. And I'll give you a report on Blue Man next week, and that's some of the best shows around.
Always in Chicago, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, this is the best time to. Is Wicked a play? I know it's a movie now. It's coming out.
Yeah,
but
It's a movie.
are they still doing the play at all in Chicago, or is that done?
The play comes around every once in a while. They bring a lot of these shows back. Like one of the shows I mentioned.
Sure.
Was the Lake Forest show, by the way. It is a show that was done in 1966 on Broadway. So some of the older shows come back, and this is
Yeah, it's always fun.
spin-off.
Chicago's got plenty of good stuff definitely for the theater. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Well, before we let you go, I want to mention a couple things. Of course, this is your entertainment concierge, Richard G. And we can reach you at 312-661. Is it 1976 or 75 now? What number are we calling?
75.
Okay, so 312
75. That was a good year. That was a good year, Mario.
75. We were talking about radio plays from the 30s, not the 70s, though. But okay, so it's 312-661-1975. They could reach out to Rich to ask what stuff he has available, because they do sell out even when you got a connection like Richard G, your entertainment concierge. But you also have stuff they can barter for. I mean, I was looking on your list. You've got a lot of this stuff you mentioned, but also like hotels and even some things outside of the theater in Chicago.
Oh yeah, well, Mario, I'm the beer and the barter.
That's right. You're also
that's a different hat that I wear.
Yeah. So everybody's got to give Rich a call if they want to do any kind of barter, really, especially with the theater stuff.
You know, if you got a chicken, I got a cow. We'll trade milk and eggs.
There, I love it. All right, Rich. Well, thanks for being on again as always. And we'll tomorrow's next week is the holiday weekend, so we probably have more stuff coming out, and we'll talk to you then. And again, if you need to reach them, it's 312-661-1975. See you later, Rich.
Let me just say, hey, Mario Bean, and you too, baby. This is Richard, your entertainment concierge, signing off. And until next time, have a great turkey.
Bye, Rich.
Thanks, Rich.
Rich. That's he's been on with us. Actually, he hasn't been on with us for the last couple of weeks because I wasn't here one week and then he wasn't available. But you can definitely give him a call, and really just anything you can think of, he can probably barter with you to get. It's amazing. But barter, you have to give him something in return, like for instance. And let's go ahead and introduce you again. So we've got our guest. We're gonna get into our interview with you.
Yes, my name is Kyle Karras. Once again, I work in video production, which is, pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh, no, great field. It's funny. Joe probably doesn't know this, but that's my background. It wasn't always radio production or podcasting. That's where I got my start at the local. Maybe you did this too, at the local cable access TV station.
I did not, but I did. They do have something similar. So you're familiar with the college in the area, College of DuPage?
Yeah, of course, sure. They have their own.
That's basically how I started, was through. They have a program there, but they also have a whole dedicated department who works on their marketing, and I got to basically work for them as a student.
Well, I know they have a radio station. Do they have stuff for TV too? I don't know if they do. I think they do some kind of like COD updates or something on the local cable for like a city channel.
They used to have actually a channel. I don't know if it's still running, that would work on cable for all the locals to watch and stuff like that. But it was mostly like pre-recorded fine arts and stuff like that they would play. But then they would also intermix with that their own produced content, which they had a couple of shows. Yeah, we did do some like live style shows, one of them being Backstage Buzz. That's like one of their bigger things.
I know that one. I don't think that's just played on that's all over. That's
well, that one has a lot more reach, so
that
they have like more deals, more talking with other, I guess networks, you could say. They're kind of all over.
I mean, again, we're on in the sub, but we can hear this anywhere in the world where you can hear podcasts. And again, they're on everywhere: Spotify, iHeart, you name it. I was saying one on the other show I just found recently called Podtail. They're on that now, so they'll hear this. But again, for the people that are in the Chicago area, they probably know College of DuPage, pretty big. And now it's connected. You could actually do a 4-year degree right through you could be at the campus. I don't know if you know that.
I wasn't familiar with the 4-year. I knew for the longest time they were doing a 3+1 program.
Well, it is the 3+1.
Oh, okay.
So you're there. Okay, maybe you're there for 3 years then, but you 3 years you're there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So maybe I don't know if it's maybe that they just have people who are licensed through the last year for the college and they still do it there. I wasn't a 3+1 person, but I knew people who did it.
Yeah.
And I honestly, I can't remember if they had to go somewhere for that last year or if they had to stay.
Well, I imagine if you're working for the college like what you're doing, why not? It would be good on the resume to transfer, but I don't know. It's called 3+1, right?
Yeah.
And it's only certain colleges in Illinois I think they're tied to. It's not everywhere. Can't go to Harvard.
Lewis was one of the bigger ones.
Lewis was one of the big ones in Chicago. Where's that? Joliet or whatever.
Yeah, kind of. Like
Romeoville.
Did you end up at Taylor? Was that
Taylor-
What,
oh,
what unit? What college?
I
did you
wound
end
up transferring to Ball State University.
Oh, Ball
Ball
State, yeah.
State.
Yeah.
My
I
cousins
see.
went there, and David
Okay.
Letterman.
Yes, the Letterman building was where I spent the majority of my time.
Oh, I didn't know they named the
Ah.
building after David Letterman.
Probably
That's great.
donated money.
Oh, I'm sure he did.
I mean, he also supposedly shortly after I graduated paid a visit, and the students were able to help him with like sort of a documentary style project that he was part of.
Oh,
What?
nice.
That's a bummer to miss.
Yeah.
Well, you
Well,
graduated too soon there. You got to go back. You
uh,
can go back.
I could if I wanted to. You know, I had an interesting experience there. I guess you could say it was great education, but as far as like they don't do a great job of making you socialize, and for even as a college student, you'd think I would know how to do that, but I guess I dropped the ball on that.
Oh, well, I mean, if you're focused on your study and your major, well, everybody supposedly has time to go to the college parties, but maybe not. I don't know. Were you commuting or did you live there?
I lived there. It would be
Okay.
hard to commute. It's about 4 hours.
Definitely.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, maybe from here, because I used to live in Indiana, so yeah, that's different for me. There's a couple, not even like an hour and a half from where I live.
Okay, yeah.
But I was in the boonies, so that's why. Yeah, I guess if you're from Chicago, that is a little bit of a haul, isn't it?
It would be, especially if you have like one class on a Thursday.
Yeah, right. Oh, that's what you had a light schedule for a while there. Well, you got a lot of stuff done at COD, right?
Yes, yeah. I was able to transfer. I was very happy that I was able to transfer with majority. I think majority of my credits turned into something.
Nice.
It was the weird part though is and say you're someone who's listening who's going into this process of transferring, you really got to advocate for yourself as far as what transfers into what, because I was told by an advisor what class to take in like the math realm that was required for my degree, and they said this should transfer perfectly into this. It didn't, so I had to take another math class to replace it. Or well, actually, I had to take a math class at COD that also would transfer. That's what wound up happening. So I wound up taking 2 math classes instead of 1.
Is that when College of DuPage at one point was quarters? Is that when it was still in quarters, or?
I think we're still, or they were still in semesters.
They were on semesters.
Or on semesters when I was there.
And they still had that problem. That's interesting.
The idea of one math class, but then you add another one.
Math.
Well, the worst part was that I took. They were like, I think they said you have to take something above this level, right? And so I took the minimum to make it easy for myself.
Yeah.
And then they said, well, that's not what it doesn't equate.
Well, it helps you with like focal lengths on the lens for your cameras, I guess.
Sure.
You're doing the fractions and stuff over and over, or where you have to
Right.
take like calculus or something. I don't know what they.
I think
had
what they
to
wound
take.
up asking for is like a business math, which I think that's what it was.
Statistics.
That's what it was. So it was like a business math.
What did you?
And I had to
statistics.
take it.
Is that what you were doing? That.
I don't think it was actually statistics. I don't know why it was like a very specific. It's like only the math that you might need for business. And yeah, I do remember now I had to take it at Ball State because they were like, there's nothing that equates. And I was like, well, you told me,
So how many years did they like? Okay, so you did the full 2 years at College of DuPage and then transferred, and they made you take. Did you end up going like 5 years mainly by the time you take extra classes?
It was 2 years in a semester on top of the 2 years I did at College of DuPage. So
Well,
I mean, it wasn't
too horrible then. It's a
No.
little extra.
And honestly, the way it like all worked out timing wise is COVID kind of saved me. I was about to get my degree. I had one class, the law class, that I was really
You don't hear a lot of
with.
people saying that COVID saved us.
Yes, right. Yeah.
But it helped you, huh?
It's changed a lot of, there's plenty of things that I could say poorly about and what COVID did. But the one thing that it did do is it helped me get my degree, because there was one class that was going to be almost impossible for me if I didn't knuckle down and like spend all my time studying. And they had no idea we had an older professor that probably was maybe less tech savvy.
Okay.
And so he didn't necessarily have the tools available or understanding of the tools to really know how to deal with going fully online at that point. So our tests became open book tests. And, I still did pay attention
Wow.
because I found it interesting. So don't worry. Nobody can be like, oh, he doesn't know the law. There's a lot of interesting things that I learned about like media law. But
Nice.
that was the law
hard.
class
Yes.
part of it. Oh, interesting. I would have liked. I would really like that class actually.
It's very interesting.
I'm looking at. It's funny we're talking about college and how we're doing the background with you. We'll get to the nitty gritty. But speaking of background, I've got an opportunity to do NYU, and I'm thinking of doing it.
Oh,
It's
really?
like, it's not like a full program. It's like you do like a 6-month thing or whatever. It's like more of a certificate.
Yeah.
But it can count as a class if you actually did go to NYU.
Oh, wow.
So I thought that was pretty cool. So I'm thinking of actually doing that.
Okay.
Would you be willing to go back and study film and television at NYU?
Well, after realizing how my industry functions, I've kind of noticed that the learning aspect is more to benefit the individual rather than getting the degree. The degree at face value, I guess, of what you're able to use it towards when you graduated is worth a lot less than the knowledge that you're gaining from it. Because if you gain that knowledge outside of a degree, the degree, going to the school obviously will always help you with networking, but that's as far as that kind of goes. If you get your knowledge about how to run cameras somewhere else, it's pretty much just as valuable.
Well, you're obviously younger and you're just dealing with getting out of college. What do you think about people that say, "Oh, I don't even need to go to like NYU or Ball State or College of DuPage. I'm just going to do it all online with like certificates and stuff." Like I know in like California State or UCLA, one of them out of California offers like a I think it's like the 3+1 where you can get like 3 years of like certificates and it counts towards a bachelor's.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I mean, it's still a great idea, especially if you're looking to get into something where that makes sense. But definitely, talk to the people who are in the industry that you're trying to get into and make sure it makes sense. Or if you're just looking for that sort of accolade and you're able to show it in a way that it benefits you, sure. But yeah, I would say like for what I do, my specific industry, like I don't even send resumes to people at this point.
They see the work, send them a demo.
Yeah,
a reel.
They either see the work, or I've had people literally hire me off of other people's recommendations. They didn't even care to look at the work. They're like, "You're the guy."
So that would be where the networking and being at the actual university helped you, probably.
Yeah,
especially College of DuPage, I would think, because there's a lot of Chicago-based stuff over there.
Yeah, and I guess my recommendation for that is try to do it at a place where you're planning on staying after college, because it's hard to take my Indiana connections and bring them back to Chicago with
True. That is a good point. Well, no, not with the 3 to 4 hours away, I guess, but there are a lot of people that are in the media that I know went to Ball State.
Right.
I've been doing this, I can't believe it myself when I say this, since 1993. Radio on air, but video, audio, visual, behind the scenes producing for radio and television. Yeah. I can't believe it's been that long, but most of the people that I've worked with are based here.
He was the initial camera guy for Wayne's World.
I wish. I wish I was him. Actually, it's funny he says that. I know one of the producers that worked on the movie and actually is from here. He's not from Aurora, but he's from Chicago.
Okay.
But yeah, that's exactly what I did. Exactly like Wayne's World. Only it was our version over in Glen Ellen and in Willowbrook, Illinois. People on the podcast like, where in the hell is it talking about? Suburbs of Chicago, which it sounds like you're also from, obviously, if you went to College of DuPage.
Yes, yeah. I grew up in Aurora, sort of.
So Wayne's World.
Yes, exactly. We heard about it.
There was a show at one point after the movie came out that was very similar. They weren't really trying to be Wayne and Garth, but close. And I don't know if it's still on. Do you know if it would still be on Aurora TV?
I'm not. I'm not too familiar with that, but I think they've been kind of coming out of the woodworks, I guess, on commercials and stuff, right?
Wayne and Garth, the real ones from the real Wayne's World? Yes, they have their back. Well, last year, didn't they do a Super Bowl ad? Maybe that was 2 years ago. I can't remember when they.
Yeah, I think we're thinking of the same thing.
But anyway, I digress. So you're from the area. We College of DuPage. I get plugs for College of DuPage, but I went there too. I worked at the radio station. It's actually hard to get to work on the productions that you're talking about and at the radio station, because maybe as an intern, but they don't necessarily hire you to pay you when you're a student there, or even after you graduated. I don't know what that's about. They want you to go to 4-year college and come back, but that's what I found. Did you have a little better luck trying to work there while you were a student still?
Yeah, I mean, so and don't get me wrong, my department's still fully separate from the station, so I don't really know much about how it would be working for the station. But
I'm talking about like the we'll
Yeah.
call it corporate, the college videos that you're doing.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
All
So-
the training stuff or whatever.
I guess for future purposes, it's called multimedia services.
Yeah.
And I did get to work there. That was the best part, honestly. Was
Multimedia
like,
services department. Okay,
yeah,
there we
yeah.
go.
That
All
was
right.
the best part about going to College of DuPage, was that I got to work there, and while other people were paying their money towards tuition to study their program, I was getting experience, and not getting a lot of money, but getting paid to do it. So
That's awesome.
yeah,
That's great. Yeah.
it's a
Was that as a student, like that student program? Because I did that in the library there, where they paid you to be like a clerk, and then you were still a student, but you got the lower pay. Is that what you were doing too, or were you actually a full-time like employee?
well, I wasn't full time. It was still part-time hours. But they do kind of have, so there's like, I guess, two positions, right? In the program, you can kind of pay to get into classes and learn, and then they have like this thing called the cage, right? That's where they do all the rentals of the equipment
I
to
remember
students.
that. Yeah.
You can work there, and I'm pretty sure you get paid to do that. But what I was doing is just they called us production assistants, but I will tell you right now, what a production assistant does on a regular set outside of that place is much lower tier than what they had us do there. So I mean,
Oh,
it's
well,
not
you
it's
got
not
all hands on.
yeah. And I
No
I would
getting
never look
coffee.
at it as like an exploitation thing. It's more of a like, wow, I get to do all this amazing stuff and get all this experience like immediately right out the gates, and get to use their
Oh yeah,
thousands and thousands of dollars equipment.
they looked at it as being like NBC5 Chicago or something. I mean, it was a professionally run program.
Yeah.
Unlike like the Access, where they have just the people from the community coming in, and even College of Page tied in with and I was a manager at Glen Ellen Television, which is right there next to College of DuPage. And it was we interacted with them, but again, we were like the city channel, and we were the
Yeah.
public access channel, which I don't even know if they have anymore.
Right.
And then College of DuPage had their own. So you were you were the other guys that made all the stuff that looked like film. They'd send us stuff like, wow, looks like I'm watching a movie doing this stuff.
Yeah.
So that must have been your department then.
Yeah,
He's
that
pretty
sounds about
stellar
right.
at that. He could craft a film to the point where you feel like you're watching a movie in like a 2-minute sort of bit. He's good at
You
it.
do the big budget on the low budget, right? Basically.
Basically, I mean, there's some, I work on varying levels of varying degrees. I've been on films with some large names, so I kind of work on different tiers. There's also I know people tell you like know your worth and stuff like that, but there's always going to be situations where I won't stop working for free.
I figure just do whatever you can to get the experience and the connection. Like you talk about networking in the entertainment business, specific video and radio production, even film is a big one. It definitely helps to know those big time agents and big time producers for sure.
Right.
I'm sure you're finding that out.
Oh yeah. I mean,
But you said they hired you, so they must like you.
I mean, shaking hands with everybody is the epitome of running yourself as a business. You have
That's
to
true.
talk to so many different people, and Joe knows this. Joe's a marketing genius.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah, he's the guerrilla marketing master.
so yeah, it's
Absolutely.
obviously all about meeting people, being open to meeting people. It's hard to remember sometimes when you're out places and be like,
That's true.
I should be talking to these people, right?
I mean, I just did. It was like natural to me to be having conversations. Sometimes I didn't even know who they were. Could have been the person in the front office, the accountant. I didn't care.
Yeah.
I just met them, and it did work. Eventually, it didn't work when I was younger. I feel like I don't mean to like say like it's ageism, like they don't trust the young kids, but it seems like you got to have like 5-6 years before they start, at least in entertainment business, taking you seriously. I don't know where that number is. Seriously, how long? Oh,
Nobody's gonna take me seriously. I'm a dummy.
yeah. Well, I don't think you're trying to produce
Libby.
film and video and stuff, but you're just trying to be my sidekick when you're not drinking beer.
Yeah.
But anyway, it seems like the younger kids, I feel like they need to give those guys a shot, but unfortunately, if you don't look like you've had 20 years experience, you're probably not going to get that gig. So it's nice that you've already had the networking and you're getting stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Shaking hands again gets you to that point, and I think with the new age technology and all the social media stuff blowing up, and that is money now, right? So a lot of people are taking, I guess you could say, more of a risk in their mind of hiring the younger person to get that sort of insight, because they know the younger people are,
I think you're more
watching
tech
all this
savvy.
stuff.
You know all the new stuff, right?
Right.
Sure.
We know what people our age want to see, and whether it's pretty or not, we know what they want to see.
Well, like your our little prop here, you brought your actual. This is what you use on some productions. Your camera. You brought your camera.
This is not my main camera. This is my secondary or even tertiary, you could say, camera.
Okay.
So but I did want to bring it because the significance of it is that it is basically not my first camera, but the camera that I believe sort of jump started my career in the industry. It's the one where it's like, okay, this is the big step up. This is my large investment that's going to start making me money.
Hold up, that camera's going.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can hold it up like over here. There you go.
There
You
we
can see
go.
it. And that is what I can't tell what model it is from here.
This is a Sony A7 III, so it's still actually my main photo camera when I do photography type stuff.
Nice.
And it's got a super wide angle lens on
I like
here.
your lens.
This
I'm looking
is-
at the lens, going, "Wow, boy,
This
they
is
got
a
more
little
compact.
fisheye lens, so this is kind of a setup that I have some fun with this one. I'll take it out, film some friends
Oh,
skateboarding and
wait,
stuff like
do you
that.
not have the Sony lens on there? You
Is
got
that-
your
Oh yeah,
own.
this
Sam
is a
Yang?
Sam Yang. So
Yeah.
this is like a Chinese brand. It's
Yeah, no,
not-
I know who it is. But we used to use Canon for the lens, and then the cameras or whatever we bought. It seemed like they like the Canon lens. If
Yeah.
you watch all the big, like the sports shows, they're still for like the football games.
right.
That long telephoto lens, even though I thought they made them shorter, but I still see them. I'm like, damn, they're like 5 feet long. You ever use those for anything?
I mean, I've helped set them up, and I don't think I was the one operating those, but I've definitely helped set them up. We've used those large lenses for. Actually, there's some smaller-ish productions that will use that level of a lens, like commencement ceremonies.
I would say, yeah, like for a play or something, you could, if you're in the back of definitely football, like the high school football, I've seen them.
Yeah.
I didn't think high school would be at that level, but I'm like, wow, that's a nice lens they're using.
Right.
But anyway, it's funny that these are becoming more for video, not just still photography.
Yeah.
This look, this body, instead of like, the big red cameras are like a big box still, even though they're more compact than they were when they started.
Right.
They're
Yeah.
still bigger than that.
Yeah, yeah. We're still working with like the box style cameras and stuff like that. Like, there's like a certain line in the industry where you have to make up your mind. There's probably a level of camera that you're willing to own. And there are people out there that are willing to own and can afford and get enough work that they can afford like the larger
What about
cameras.
just renting them?
That's what I was getting at. Yeah, there's a line that you basically cross where you're like, okay, I have to make this decision. It's probably better just to rent per each, production, because you don't need the large camera on every production.
Didn't
what
they,
is-
did
oh, go
they
ahead.
film 28 weeks later with an iPhone? Am I
I don't think
am
they
I
filmed
not
the whole
correct?
movie.
Yeah, apparently, like the director like actually filmed the full film on like a phone.
What's the one where they're running around and
it's-
they fake like that they were killed at the end of the
Blair
movie?
Witch-
Yeah, Blair
Blair
Witch.
Witch
Didn't they do that
Project.
with Blair Witch? They had
I don't know if it was like a
Cameras, like
phone, but yeah, it
phone
was
cameras?
definitely like a older camera that was
It was
not
all
high.
shaky.
yeah, they made it
You
look
can get a
older.
seizure. doing
Right.
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, and you may be right. Unfortunately, and I'll drop a bomb here, I guess. I don't really watch a whole lot of TV or movies.
You're too busy making it.
He
I-
does make.
I
quite a bit.
I've always preferred doing rather than watching. So
Understandable.
and so but
I
that
don't
is
know
a
if
point people
28
make a
weeks
lot.
was. I'm going to look that up. But if people are watching, they can comment on the
It's
video.
like the movie 28 Days Later.
Or 28 days later.
okay.
What am I saying?
Yeah,
20
like
that's
so
what I meant.
28
days.
weeks later, I believe, is the newest sequel they have coming out for it or have come out with, and it was filmed completely with an iPhone.
I mean, some of these lenses on these are pretty nice. I mean, they're not as good as that, but they're good.
It's
You
just
could use
wild
it.
to think
The
about,
clarity.
though.
I don't know if it's 4K. What level of video quality are we at now? I'm still an analog Betamax. You remember? Well, maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
Or a Betacam. Excuse me. Betamax was at home.
Yeah.
But did you get to Betacam SP or any of that stuff, or are you way beyond that? Because
I never
was
had to
old
deal with
style.
film. Like
Okay.
nobody forced me to deal with film. It's still
Well, that was video
requested.
actually.
Oh,
Videotape.
well,
Videotape.
videotape. I guess. Yeah. I didn't have to deal with any kind of close to analog. It's always been digital throughout my lifetime.
Oh, you're lucky.
Yeah, I got the easy stuff to work with, but it is still, like specifically film, and like Super 16 is actually requested still a decent amount in the
No
narrative
kidding.
realm. Yeah, there's specific people when you know how to. It's actually an asset to know how to work with film.
Wait,
to
were
this
they
day.
actually using the old 16 millimeter film cameras?
Yeah.
And the film, 60 millimeter film, not digital version of it. Like,
Yeah, there's a. So are you familiar with the RE, the brand, like the big RE
Yes.
cameras? Yeah.
yeah,
So
I've seen them.
there's a lot of people who still shoot on like film on RE and stuff like
Wow.
that. For like
That's
smaller projects.
ARRI for people who are like, what are we talking about?
Right. Yeah, you can look it up. There's smaller projects, even like music videos shot
Well,
on them.
there were a couple movies that just came out that they specifically wanted it to be shot on 35 millimeter. The one that comes to mind is a movie called Honora.
Okay.
Well, I think they got both versions, like the 4K or 8K. Where are we at level wise now with video?
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm assuming it's probably still like for IMAX or whatever. It might be anywhere between 4K and 6K.
Okay.
But like for cameras, what they can capture, there's some actually. If you're talking about relativity, like relatively affordable like there is a relatively affordable camera that shoots 12K.
No kidding.
Yeah.
We're at
Wow.
12K.
We're at
Jesus.
12K. I think there is a
Amazing.
16K out
Again,
there.
I'm used to analog tape that was this thick, and I never shot on film, but I know a lot of people that did.
Yeah.
But like 70 millimeter was even a thing. What's the equivalent of that now? Probably like a 12K, I would guess.
70.
like
That's
IMAX.
the double wide.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah, they have these. So if I'm going into it, I guess they have like
I
the
know that's more
standard is
film
full
stuff, but-
frame. Yeah. So they still base around the film. They base the size of the sensor around how film was, right? So they
Okay.
have Super 35, which is I think that's APS-C, and this is the bad part because I don't always pay attention to like the film equivalents. But like we have the standard right now is full frame, so that's like the same as what we used to see in cinema and stuff like that. Or super at the APS-C is like the smaller crop sensor, which also we would see a lot in film because.
Oh,
they
and that
have-
reminds me, is it the like the glass thing in the back, or do you have the full chips in a lot of these cameras? Maybe that one's older.
Oh yeah, so this one doesn't have the mirror in it.
It doesn't? Okay.
No, so this is considered a mirrorless camera. And
I think I like the mirror. I don't know.
Oh,
Maybe
yeah?
I'm old school. I don't know.
there's a specific actually like a look that the mirrored DSLRs that shot video people really liked. So that's still, I don't know if it's really sought out like how film is sought out, but it is a look that is enjoyable for some over the mirrorless look. But
I mean,
Times
I
change.
guess I'm losing track of all the new stuff, so that's where I'm at.
yeah,
I've got a Canon EOS, but it was one of the first digital that shot. Actually, man, that was before 4K, 8K. That was like 12 years ago.
that's the tiny one, right?
Yeah,
yeah,
but
yeah.
still,
Is it the
it's
EOS
old.
M then?
I think.
Okay.
I gotta look at it.
But
It was when they first started using it to shoot like 5 minutes, and that was a lot
oh yeah,
of video.
which
For
is
now it's like,
funny.
haha, we can shoot 3 hours, right?
Yeah, they have. I mean, so the EOS M, maybe
Pretty
it's
sure
the
it was
same
EOS
one.
M.
If it's
call
like a
my house.
navy blue sort of body. Yeah. So that's funny because
I like the lens on it.
they've jailbroken. They've written program to jailbreak that camera,
Really?
and now it shoots like this is like basically, for easy terms to use, very good looking stuff, right? It shoots 12-bit raw
Wow.
image when you jailbreak
I know what that
it.
means. Maybe the audience doesn't, but that's
Yeah.
impressive.
Dang.
From that program to hack the old camera. you're saying.
Right? Yeah.
Interesting.
That's pretty wicked. Not gonna
So
lie.
what if
It's
I
a little
just
tiny
use
one.
the old camera? Am I going to be able to do it, fix it in editing and post, or no?
Well, you just gotta jailbreak it, right?
You have to go through the
That's what I mean. When
program.
you're using the camera itself, you get the program to put. How does it work? How did they do that? when
I'm
they say they
assuming, there's probably a way to mount the camera to the
Okay.
to the
So that's what it
computer. You'd have
Got
to
it.
go in there and write up basically, or enable the program, and it'll go in there and just rewrite kind of the programming on
But
it.
it would be attached to the actual body.
Right. You'd be
Okay.
able to shoot internally.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So people are, I mean, I don't know that I would have to do that. I would just go get the new stuff. But,
Sure.
I'm just wondering what you mainly shoot. Do you use an RE rig? Do you use Red? What's your thing?
I mean, I use a lot of different stuff. There's clients that want me to use like specific cameras. There's clients that provide cameras. And then when I'm shooting for myself, I shoot on Sony. So this can be a B cam sometimes for me, but my main camera is the Sony FX30. It's like the lowest in the tiers of the cinema cameras, but still like the newest line of cinema cameras from Sony.
Got it.
So they have like the FX30, and then they have the FX3, the FX6, and the FX9, and those are the most modern ones. But then that's all before maybe the Venice and the Venice 2. Those are like
that's what I'm saying. I'm getting way behind because I'm not doing it every day anymore.
Sure.
And I'm just used to doing like this with radio, where it's just a webcam, nothing fancy.
Sure.
I should set that up, but we don't. We just use our basic stuff.
Whatever
because
works.
we're audio, we're radio still, we're podcasting, but we like the video part.
Yeah, there's people
But-
that request iPhones. Like people should shoot on iPhones still.
Well, that's what Joe was mentioning earlier
It's
about
just
that
wild to
movie.
think about.
Yeah,
It's weird, but
it's more for
it can happen.
content. But like content creators will be like, I'm looking for a
Yeah.
videographer, and either like they'll say like, oh, I'll provide my phone for you to shoot on, or I'm looking for a iPhone shooting
Yeah.
content creator.
I've seen it on Instagram. A lot of influencer guys ask. I mean, I guess that if that's what they have, that's what they have.
Yeah, and I mean that's kind of like a certain skill set for TikTokers or reel makers because they film mostly from that perspective of a.
But
of a
with the
phone.
Apple is the fun part. I mean, you
Mhm.
you can't do like with this lens even for people watch video, you can see his lens. He can do a nice wide shot with that. You can't do it with the iPhone. That I guess is
Yeah.
the difference.
Yeah,
even the new
definitely
ones.
Yeah.
yeah.
But anyway, so where are we finding you, Kyle? Like if they want to hire you for something, who do we call?
Sure. I mean, karismedia.chicago is my Instagram, but if you go to karismedia.services, that's
Mhm.
my website. Karis is spelled Karas. So karismedia.services, that's my website. You can fill out a form there and
Okay.
hire me for various projects.
Do you travel?
I do travel. Yeah, as long as
does.
the budget's there, we'll travel.
Okay. Yeah, right. As long as the budget's there. You don't want to eat into your fee with the $500 hotel bills, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. I'll go to Hawaii if you want to pay for it. Sure.
Oh, yeah. Ooh, that'd be fun, wouldn't it? Yeah. Or how about LA? Go check out what's going on out there.
I love
Get
LA.
stuck in traffic for hours.
Yeah, no kidding. I think Chicago's supposedly the worst, but I still say LA is. I've been in LA and Chicago traffic.
I thought
It's a-
Dallas was pretty bad too. From
I've
what
never
seen.
sat in traffic
Yeah,
in
oh
Dallas.
my
I guess I've been
gosh.
lucky.
Their highway.
The only time I went to Dallas was for an anniversary. Well, it was my nephew my cousin was born, and we went to it was the 35th anniversary of the shooting of the president.
Oh,
So that was,
JFK?
and I don't remember any traffic. Yeah, from JFK. So
Yeah.
that's the only time I've been to Dallas. But speaking of that, where is there a big, film or corporate television stuff here in Chicago, or are you traveling around, other areas? Like, are you doing LA, New York, Miami, Houston, Dallas?
I mean,
Or mostly here.
I mostly work in the Chicago and Chicagoland area.
There's so much going on.
Yeah, there's a lot to work here, but I mean, like I have been asked to travel. I traveled actually to Indiana recently for some work, and then I've been asked also to fly out to different states and stuff like that, just because they like what I do and they want me specifically to be places. I've had to turn some down just because, like, logistically, I had other projects that the travel wouldn't make sense.
Right.
I get
I
that.
can't go 3 hours here and then be on the set on call for this one, and it's 3 hours back.
Yeah.
I get it. Where were you at in Indiana? Just out of curiosity.
I was over at Notre Dame actually doing some education videos.
South
Bend. Very
Yeah.
Well, that ain't too far. I mean, from
Oh, yeah.
Chicago, it's what,
Like 2
2 hours.
Yeah, but it would have been a lot to drive back and forth each day. So client put me up in a hotel, and
Oh, okay.
we shot for the weekend.
I mean,
What
what's your limit?
hotel?
There's a hotel on campus.
Ooh, very
I
nice.
mean, what would the limit be? I mean, I used to drive for this. Speaking of photography, but we'd have the old box. I forget. It was a Sony. I don't remember what model it was, but it was for studio photography,
Mm.
and the lens. That was the lens, very similar to yours.
Yeah.
And it was fixed though. You really couldn't move it.
Oh.
You had to pose everybody a certain, length away.
Oh yeah.
And anyway, I traveled with that. I was selling the photos to the churchgoers, and then also making the album to sell that. They would sell it at the actual church.
Okay.
You could get it as a member of the church, and then I was selling a photo album thing to the actual people. And I traveled for like 8 hours one way, and then they expect me the next day to be 12 hours farther that way. I mean, it was insane.
Yeah.
Would you do that?
I mean, the money's got to be there.
Yeah.
It's tough, and I'm that kind of person where 7 hours sometimes isn't enough of sleep.
Yeah.
So like I kind of just need that schedule where I'm getting that regular rest.
They must not have
I
thought
remember.
of that.
I remember when we worked with you on the film. You said that you had a certain stipulation, and luckily, Eric was really
Wait,
with
we
working
didn't
with
even
you.
talk about
Yeah.
that. What film? What film did you work on with Joe?
Oh, so yeah, I mean, Joe is a multi-talented man. He does acting
Yes,
as
he
well.
is.
We know that.
So
And a good booker and producer.
yeah, he does everything. I mean, it's crazy. But I got him onto a project for a 48-hour film competition.
Yeah.
So I tried my best to stick to a sleep schedule on that, which is almost impossible.
I just remembered that, and I was like, oh yeah.
I put these stipulations forward. They didn't wind up holding up. I wound up, getting like 2 hours of sleep one night.
Oh,
But
geez.
that's
rough.
That's kind of what's expected when you participate in these sort of challenges, and it's a very wide competition. Like, people know who are in the film industry all over the U.S. They have them in different places.
It's not for just colleges or something. It's for anybody.
Right.
Anybody in the industry.
Yeah, anybody in the industry can join. There's stipulations, and they give you basically
Like a film festival deal for a film festival?
It's like
it was a film festival.
yeah, it's all
actually. Yeah.
included. So it's a challenge, and they give you awards after judging and stuff like that. But there are stipulations. Is like, this is the exact time you can start, exact time you have to be done by and submit by. This is literally from scripting to editing and exporting, giving it to them, and everybody has to abide by certain things. So it's like, either you get you I think usually what we did was we drew categories, so we had an option of 1 or 2 subgenres to go by.
Okay.
And then we had to include a specific line, a specific prop that everybody else had to include as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they have these kind of rule sets that you have to follow. You have to make sure everything's included in order for you to tick all the boxes and be yes.
You needed to have Joe Brunker in it?
I'll
Is
tell
that
you,
one of them?
I die.
Yeah.
He dies.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's ever
Oh.
actually coming out.
Okay.
But,
All right.
I have not seen it. Have you seen it?
I've seen it. I can get it to you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
cool.
Well,
I'll
he
check it
didn't
out.
you edit it?
I didn't edit it.
Oh,
I was
okay.
not on
But
the
you
editing
shot.
team.
It
Yeah.
played at the theater, right? Like that for the festival.
Yeah,
thing?
they had a
yeah.
festival gathering day, and then they went.
That's
and
always
played
fun
through.
to at least show it to people involved, Still
Right.
a couple hundred people maybe. I don't know how many people would have been there, but
Yeah, it's a pretty big theater from where they were showing it
Did
at.
you go?
No,
Oh, okay.
I've just been to that theater before for silent.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, it was cool.
your main focus then, if I'm hearing this correctly, is you do whatever you need to do, but you'll do television production, you'll do films. What else? Training videos. What if somebody wants to hire? What do
He
you?
does. actually.
Advertising is
Yeah.
kind of my favorite thing.
Okay.
So promo. My favorite things are event promo, and then ads. My favorite thing that I kind of want to do more of is video production for products.
Oh, nice.
He did a
Yes.
really good one where I was doing steak seasoning
Oh yes,
yeah, like
I brought him on. He brought him to my
Wait,
parents'
so
backyard. with
what
their
were you
grill.
doing exactly?
Yeah, so like he had like steak and chicken rub and like basically
Sounds sexy.
yeah, I was up working on a grill. He asked me to wear like a plaid like shirt.
So you see your hands or the whole Joe?
I think you see me for a moment, but it's like
It's like
a
one
quick,
shot.
it's like a brief glance.
And
Yeah.
where do these go? Like on the website of the company or for actual television airing?
Usually, it's for companies like websites. I mainly make stuff for web or social media.
Okay, social media.
It's definitely quality enough to be on television though.
You
based
could make
on
my
his
shorts for
angles.
us. We're working on, and again, the editor takes forever. But we utilize the footage from here and we cut them up in little shorts and reels and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's our next thing to go viral there one of these days. If I ever get them all done, because right now you just see the full hour.
Oh yeah.
We don't edit that. We keep, as soon as we're done, you'll be able to find it on YouTube and then eventually on all the podcast sites, audio.
Oh yeah.
But video, YouTube, and even Facebook.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so to find you again, thanks for coming. We were talking with Kyle. Excuse me, Carl. What am I? I'm getting tired. And how do you say your last name again?
Karis.
Karis. I
Don't
wanna
you
say
pay
it wrong.
attention?
I do. I don't want to say it.
Thank you.
Kyle Karis. And we could, if you want to hire him for any kind of project, especially for, like you said, for the web stuff, for you need camera crew, definitely give him a call. Where do they reach you in terms of if they just want to call?
Yeah, 630-450-0083. You should be able to reach me there.
All right. And then the website again.
Website is www.karismedia.services.
Thank you very much for being with us.
Thanks.
Kyle, thanks everybody for being
Thanks,
here.
Kyle.
Thank you for having me.
And Libby, you made it through even with the drinking.
Yeah, I paid attention. You don't.
I do. Trust me. I'm trying to make sure they
I'm the
get
resident
their stuff out.
ballbuster here.
So thanks again for coming. Appreciate it.
course.
Nice having you, Joe. Thanks for being here, of course.
Yeah.
Looking this all up. And Libby, even though you're drunk on this one, it was still fun having you.
Thank you.
Everybody
You guys
take
are
care.
great.
Funny. Take care, everybody. Bye. See you next time.
Bye.
You're on Bell and Company.